My name's Dave Dubeau, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey gang, welcome back. Today I'm excited to interview today's guest, Hayato Hori, who is zooming in from Miami, Florida, because Hayato's a young guy, but he's done some really interesting things so far in his real estate career. And one version of his real estate career, he was helping connect institutional and retail buyers with hot properties. In fact, he helped to buy 250 of them with some sort of voodoo magic that we're going to have to find out about there. And these days, he's really getting into the whole multifamily thing and raising capital for his private equity group. So, Hayato, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, Dave.
All right, give us a little snapshot. We're at the beginning of 2026. What does real estate and real estate investing look like for Hayato these days?
Yeah, nowadays I am raising capital, like you mentioned, for red brick equity and acquiring multifamily deals primarily in the Midwest. And within the Midwest, we're focused in on Chicago at the moment. So we've done about like 3 acquisitions in 2025, hoping to do a little bit more if the deals are right. You know, we analyze 300 and some odd deals to find 3 deals that we decide to move forward with. And we have pretty strict criteria. And we know what happened to many of the operators that, didn't underwrite this conservatively. And a lot of them went out of the game, unfortunately, as well. So we just don't want that happening to us. And we believe that if we stick to fundamentals and operate with exceptional, operations, then we feel like we can actually give great returns to our investors and also continue doing more deals that way. So,
okay. Well, yeah, that's definitely the goal. So tell me a little bit about your ideal kind of properties that you're looking for. What size of properties, what vintage of properties, what does that look like, Hayato?
Yeah, I know vintage is a funny thing in Chicago and a lot of the Midwestern areas. These buildings have been built, 1890s, 1930s, usually within that range, majority of the supply are.
Good old, everybody thinks of Chicago in the 1920s and 30s. They think about a guy named Al. Al Capone.
Right.
Yeah.
No, exactly. And a lot of people, because I have friends out here that run funds in, Florida and Texas, and they're like, oh my God, I only do things that are at least, 1980 and newer. And so the vintage is very different as well. We account for those expenses on the repair and maintenance side of things when we underwrite the deals. And the deals that we like to actually take a look at are 20 plus units that are 90% plus occupied and above like a $1.5 million purchase price. And the reason for that is because we like to go into it with agency loans. So Freddie and Fannie, they're non-recourse loans, and they require that you have it at a 90% plus occupancy when you do go into these buildings. And we like to go Freddie and Fannie too, just because they have the best prepayment penalty terms and the best interest rates too. And so we feel like they also do a lot of rigorous underwriting as well, and just double check and make sure that the deal goes well, because they want the deal to go well as well, because they want to be able to return that capital as well. So
it's kind of a second set of eyes checking out your numbers with you and making sure that your underwriting was right the first time around.
Exactly. The big issue with them is like the insurance cost. It's just quite expensive. But other than that, they've been pretty good to work with. And it's always nice to be on their good side, because then they'll be able to provide you more loans and have experience with them and so forth. So that's what we're looking at.
Okay, very cool. So you brought down 3 deals last year in 2025, 20 units up. What size properties were these? What age of properties were these, the 3 that you got under your belt so far?
26 units on the first one. That one is, I believe, 1926 year built. Right, 1920s.
100 years.
Exactly. It's exactly century birthday. And then the other one was 24 unit building. I believe that was a 1920 vintage as well.
Mhm.
And then this third one, we're actually closing this one next month. And that one is a 30 unit building, 1930 vintage.
Okay. Very cool. So smaller multifamilies, 20 to 30 unit type thing, older buildings. What is the exit plan for these properties, the operational plan and the exit plan for these, Hayato? What
Yeah,
what value you adding to them? Yeah.
Yeah. So 5 to 7 year holds are what we typically project when we do them. A lot of these are like light value add type of deals. And so because they're already 90% occupied, they already have tenants in them, they're, habitable. And what we do is we go in there. We like to do projects where the unit turns are anywhere between, 5 to 20,000, no more than that. And the reason for that is because it's very predictable. We know exactly when those things are going to be completed. There's no like construction over budget or over timeline that happens when you're dealing with a $5,000 to $20,000 unit turn. And so those are the projects that we like to go and turn these units very, very quickly, vacate those units if needed quickly as well, so that we can stabilize the asset within the first year and then have it cash flowing for the remainder of the years.
Okay. Very cool. So 5 to 20 grand per unit. What are you typically doing to spruce them up?
So we typically add in maybe an upgraded kitchen, upgrade the bathrooms, but these are in B and C class locations. So we're not doing anything crazy. We're not moving walls. We're not adding any major amenities to these buildings. We did add like a laundry unit to one of the buildings. It doesn't really affect the overall rental, the market rate that we can actually get these rentals for. However, we believe that it will keep the tenants in longer because we don't want to have many unit turnovers once the unit, the building is stabilized. And so although it doesn't play into the underwriting that way in terms of like increasing rent, it does play in a way where we don't have to incur many unit turnover costs for the long term. So that's why we added that laundry room. Other than that, very simple upgrades to the unit so that we can get the max rents possible.
Okay. Very cool. So 5 to 7 year hold, you're not doing too much work on these properties. Where do you see the upside coming with the kind of properties where in 5 to 7 years, you're going to be able to sell them and cash your investors out, get them a really good return on their money, make some money yourselves? Where do you see that happening?
Yeah. So one example is a 24 unit building that we acquired, I believe, end of Q3 last year. That building was significantly under market rent. And so the average rent for that building, let's say, was around 950 or so. And many of the new leases that we're getting for these units in that building is 1,200 and above. And so we are increasing each unit about $300 or so per month.
That'll do it. Yeah. Yeah.
And so we're not putting, extensive unit upgrades as you would in a Class A building. But for these B and C class, locations, 5 to 15K usually does it. And we place in Section 8 tenants into these buildings. So 80 to 100% of the rents are subsidized, and the remainder is paid by the tenants too.
Nice. So for sure that that rent check's coming in every single month because it's the state or the city that's paying for that. Very, very cool. Plus, you tend to get very good tenants because they don't want to screw things up and lose that Section 8 funding.
Right, exactly. It's like a 7-year, wait list to get one of those vouchers in Chicago. And so these tenants, do not want to lose and it cannot afford to. Otherwise, like you're looking at homelessness, right? And that's the next option for a lot of these people. And we want them to stay in the units too. So
win-win-win all the way around. Hey there, if you're a capital raiser, a syndicator, or a fund manager, and you're looking for a steady flow of incoming accredited investor leads, then go ahead, grab a free copy of my new book, How to Get 20 Accredited Investor Meetings Every Month Without Cold Calling, Networking, or Chasing People. You can get that at 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. Again, that's the number 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com.
Exactly.
Very okay. Now that's making a lot of sense. So you're going after properties that are under rented. Now they're good occupancy rates, but they're significantly under market rent. Would that be fair to say? That's the
Exactly.
Now, is it a challenge in Chicago? I'm not familiar with Illinois very much there, to turn over these units when you are sprucing them up? And is it what's the process to get an existing tenant out?
Yeah, great question. So I know there's many other operators that have different philosophies on it. We don't want to go in there gun ho and tell them, hey, everyone needs to leave the building and then just kick these tenants out when this is their place to live. So what we do is say, hey, at this given time, 3-4 months down the line, this is what the rent increases are going to be. If you're not able to pay those rents, then what we'll do is we're not just going to kick you out on the street. We'll go ahead and see if we can actually find you another place to rent. So our property management company, they manage around 4,500 units or so in the area. So what they do is they can go in there and say, hey, you know what? Like, this is your budget. You can't meet the new budget that sets forth for this building. However, we can place you in another building where this is the rent. And so they'll actually go ahead and help them displace those tenants into a new unit that they can actually afford. That won't be too far from them as well. So it's kind of like a win-win situation overall. And once we do vacate those tenants out, then we'll go ahead and spend 2 to 3 weeks to get those unit turnovers completed, and then start marketing those units out to the Section 8 program out there, which is the Chicago Housing Authority.
Smart. So I take it that Chicago doesn't really have rental controls. You have good freedom on how much you can charge and when you increase the rents and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's one of the only, it's the third largest city in the U.S. and right after New York City and L.A., and the third most populated city. And the difference between LA and New York is that it doesn't have rent control. It's one of the reasons why we picked Chicago to invest in.
It's making more and more sense to me now that you explained it for sure, Hayato. Yeah. So couple of things it sounds like you've become very good at. Are these deals, the 3 that you did last year, did you find them on market or off market? Were they listed or were they not listed?
One of them was off market. Actually, 2 of them have been off market. One of them was on market. One of them that was off market, it was previously on market, but then the buyer kind of got cold feet. And so we swooped in and got that deal. But the remainder is
an expired listing, so to speak, right?
It's essentially, yes, exactly.
Yeah. Very, very cool. All right. And it sounds like the previous thing that you were doing in real estate was finding off-market deals and getting those sold. So you must have got kind of the hang of that. What did you find, or what do you find works best for you for finding these specific kind of properties off-market? Are you doing direct mail, knocking on doors? What are you doing to generate leads for that?
At the moment, from the multifamily side of things, we are primarily getting them through brokers and wholesalers. And actually, all the deals that we've acquired have been through brokers. And they send us off-market deals, and the ones that they list online as well. Whatever they have, we take a look at every single one of them. As long as the numbers pencil out, it's good for us. Previously, what I was doing was going directly to the sellers and actually doing mail and text messaging and cold calling. Text messaging was kind of like our bread and butter. We at one point sent about 500,000 texts in a monthly basis. Yeah.
So you basically do wholesaling is what the previous gig was. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Wholesaling those deals to institutions and retail investors.
So was it single family homes, or what were you wholesaling?
Majority single family. I would say like 95% in single family homes and the other 5% multifamily.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I like the niche that you're going after. You've got a very defined market. You know why it's Chicago. And the size of the properties that you've done so far, I think that's a really smart idea because they're too big for the little guy and too small for the big guy. So it's kind of a nice spot to be in. So the other piece of the puzzle is raising capital, Hayato. So what have you found works best for you and your partners for finding investors and raising the private capital needed to do these deals? And do Do you do syndications? Do you have a fund? What is the capital side of things like?
Yeah, we're a private equity real estate fund, and we raise capital on every single deal that we have. So they're all like individual deals, and our investors can pick and choose which one they want to go in and which ones they don't want to go in. And so one of them doesn't affect the performance of another one. So those are the types of deals that they come in. And as far as the investor demographic goes, these are people who either want to take like tax advantages from real estate that they are able to get. So that's one of those people. Another type of people are people who want to go into multifamily, but they don't necessarily have either the capital or the knowledge to get into the multifamily side of things yet. And so they want to see how we operate it and how we go about, executing our game plan. And so because we provide, quarterly reports and we give them monthly updates on the deals that we go into, they're able to kind of follow along the journey and really see what we do and, be able to really learn from us in that way on how we kind of operate these multifamily deals. So that's another aspect of it. And the other kind of demographic are people who just want to be fully passive. They are like, hey, I don't want to deal with property managers. Don't want to deal with tenants. I don't want to deal with maintenance. I just want to be in real estate, but not deal with the headaches.
Yeah, I just want to cut a check and get checks back. That's
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So those are kind of like the three buckets that people typically fall under that invest alongside with us.
And what have you found works best for you guys 2025, 2026 for finding these LPs, these investors? Well, they're not LPs, they're investing in a fund. These private investors that you're working with.
Yeah, we do quite heavy like social media outreach. My partner has the most followers amongst all of our partners. He has about like 200,000 or so followers on Instagram, and then a little bit more on like 50,000 or so on TikTok. And so we put a lot of effort, myself as well, into social media channels, but we also do a lot of in-person outreach as well, because I believe that shaking hands with someone in person just builds a trust that you just simply cannot build just from, a video call and video meetings. So we do quite a lot of these like dinner meetings, coffee meetings, lunch meetings with investors, and they can ask whatever questions that they have with us. And we don't see that it's a good fit for them, we'll just tell them straight up, hey, you know what, this is probably not a deal you want to get into. If it is, we'll tell them as well and why we think it's a great deal. So that's how we kind of build trust and connections with these people.
Very, very cool. Hayato, as we're wrapping up our conversation here, what plans do you have for this new year, 2026?
For New Year's 2026, I want to be able to acquire at least 100 plus units just this year alone. And we want to do so with investors who have the same missions and the same goals that we have, which is to provide more affordable housing units in the market for those who need it. And we think the best way to do so is through these B and C class location properties. So we hope that we can achieve that and also provide strong returns for investors. So it's kind of like a win-win-win situation all around.
Yeah, I love what you're doing. I like the market that you're in. I like the size of the properties that you're going after. The fact that you're going after properties that are being kind of undermanaged and, they've been good occupancy, but low rents, and then getting them turned around very economically and efficiently, bringing rents up to market rates, but focusing on Section 8 tenants so that you and your investors know every month the government's cutting that check for those people. And contrary to popular belief, they're probably some of the best tenants you're ever going to get because they never want to leave. They appreciate having 80, 90% of their rent covered by the government. So they want to keep things good while they can. So very, very smart. Good stuff. Hayato, if people want to connect with you and find out more, where should they go?
They can go to redbrickequity.com/podcast and they'll be able to get a ton of information from there.
Excellent. Hey, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you having me on.
All right, everybody, take care, and we'll see you on the next one. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on the show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.